So next up, we're gonna go talk about an international big that's playing stateside. Hannes Steinbach. I believe I said it right. Shout out to the Germans out there. Germany, we love you. I believe I said it. I tried to focus and really prep to get the pronunciation right. Hannes Steinbach, freshman. I guess this is a 4'5" tweener, so I might have lied in the intro, but
I think
he's a 6. He's listed at 6'11". Look, his weight, I think Washington's website doesn't even have it, which is always really convenient.
I don't think they even have his height.
Maybe they might not. Anyways, I've seen him like 6'11", 220. He's bigger than 220.
Yeah.
But 20-year-old freshman, a lot of people really like him. He's putting up some good numbers for a big man. Right now, he's in 14 games. He's at 17.9 points, 11.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists, just under a block a game, 1.0 steals, 1.9 turnovers, which you love to see. Shooting splits of 56, 30, 77. So Metcalf, like the 3-point percentage, he doesn't take a lot of them. He's got a solid looking shot from out there. He just seems like a big that just kind of punches the clock, puts his hard hat on, and goes to work every day and doesn't complain and just solid. But my question to you is, like, where are you at with Hannes? And what do you need to see to even like buy in a little bit more? Is there anything you're concerned about? Is this potentially going to be one of the top bigs off the board?
He could be.
This is not we're not just downing on JQ this whole episode, folks. I'm just saying we're getting a little bit more like, okay, well, if this is what you do middle of the year, like, well, if Quaintance doesn't turn it around, what's the conversation? So what do you think?
I'll start positive. He's like, his rebounding is legitimately insane. It was like that last year. It was like that in FIBA. He's an offensive rebounding rate of 14.8, a defensive rebounding rate of 24.1. Those are insane figures, and a big reason why his effective field goal rate is at 58.2. Like, he gobbles up everything in the paint. He has such good instincts, really good hands, and goes back up with it really quickly. 83rd percentile in offensive rebounding putbacks. It's stuff you love to see. It's easy buckets. It's generating extra offense, and it's a huge weapon that we're seeing teams like Houston absolutely thrive in, where they may not be super prolific from outside, but if you have a guy on the interior who can rebound like that and generate extra possessions like that, it can really reshape your offense.
He's, you first watch him and I think you get a little bit like, okay, he's just going to be this guy that's like an effective rebounder. And then you kind of get a couple possessions with him like running the break, and you're like, my goodness, look at him run. Like, he just runs like a deer in transition. He's got some good athleticism. He's like a sneaky, kind of sneak up on you, can poster you at times where you're like, I didn't know you had that. But obviously it's like, hey, well, he's full speed, and the juggernaut's coming at you. So I feel like each time I'm like watching his tape, I find another thing that I'm like, okay, I like it a little bit more, but I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to get to a point where I'm like, I'm hitting a wall of
yeah.
And I'm going to make fun of myself. I also wonder if I don't properly appreciate elite rebounders. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Like, value that enough when it comes to like a big board, or like, what would a team be thinking? I wonder if a team looks at an elite rebounder and is just like, oh man, that's such a desired skill for us. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and I think it is. A lot of the scouts I've talked to, it's always rebounding translates, whether you're going from JV to varsity or varsity to college or college to the pros. Like, rebounding always tends to translate. So at a minimum, that you're going to get an awesome rebounder on both ends of the floor with him. And I like a lot of that footwork stuff that he showcased, getting downhill in the open court, some really fun short roll stuff where he settles in and then uses that to generate a drive, and he'll hit a guy with a Euro step or a spin move every now and then. You said you were worried about hitting that wall. I think I face planted in into it.
Okay, well, let's talk. This is when I get to
Because
host and have fun. So, is it the defense?
a lot of it's the defense.
Okay, well, let's go both sides of the fence here.
Yeah.
Because people think we're always too positive, and me and you have had a day. So
I love how we
on-
started this episode being like, I really like how this big class is shaping up. And
No, but you know what? We never do this of just being like really blunt. And I think people sometimes are like, hey, it's annoying, but it's also a compliment. The one thing the comment I get all the time every year is like, hey, you guys do great work. You're way too positive. And I'm like, well, everyone needs to focus on the positive.
everybody love everybody.
Everybody love everybody, ELE, but also like, why would we spend all of our time being negative? And like, your team is going to draft one of these guys. Don't you want to know, like, hey, this is the highs. This is what you could get invested in, instead of just being like, this guy's no good because of this. But it's not saying that we don't do that with scouting. So like, more scouting. Where's your concerns? Won't be too negative. What's your concern areas?
What side of the ball?
Let's start offense.
Okay.
I'll see if I agree with you.
I wish that the passing was a lot better.
I thought it was gonna be a little bit better.
There are flashes of like 1 a game or 2 a game where he makes a really nice read and a really nice touch pass out of the short roller, post up to beat the double, or finds the cutter or top of the key kind of stuff. But a lot of the time when you actually watch the passes, he sees the pass, but the accuracy on it isn't where it needs to be, where it's off to the guy's side or it's at his feet or he has to jump and really extend to grab it. It's almost never actually in the shooting pocket when he does make those reads. And I just wish that he was a little more consistent with making those reads. It felt like a really similar thing with Germany and FIBA over the summer too, where once or twice a game he'd make this gorgeous skip out of the short roll, but a guy would have to reach for it. It would be a little off center and not exactly where it needs to be. And I think that's the most realistic part of his game that can really take a jump in the short term here and really elevate his overall offensive game. Because like I love the rim pressure stuff. I love the offensive rebounding, but there's got to be something else. I think the shot will be fine long term. He's super erratic with his misses right now, but he's taken a handful a game, 30%. It's not there yet. I think it'll get there, but I think him really exploring and unlocking the passing rates and the passing accuracy specifically will help unlock and make him such a much more versatile offensive player.
You know, it's not when I said to start off, it's not me being like, oh, he's not a good passer. I think there's really good vision stuff where you're like, that's a really nice read for a big. It's just I don't get it frequent enough. Now, I mean, like, look, he started out the year, a couple of games, he had like 6 assists, 4 assists, and it's, it gets fizzled down quick where it's like he had a 4-game stretch where he had 3 total assists. But then you like the USC game is like, I'm watching him just all over the place. And I was like, man, he's just beast. He had the 24 and 16 with 3 assists in that game. He went 2 for 3 from deep. He was 8 for 10 from the free throw line. You just like, okay, I get it. So I'm with you. I feel like the passing, and maybe it was like, I was just dreaming more of like, hey, Hans might come up and put double digits with 5 assists and like go top 6 or just mess around.
I think he has that potential. Like if we're grading out his passing right now, like the actual skill right now, I'd probably give it like a C. But potential, if he maxes that skill out, I think he has A upside, where I think that could be a real legitimate, not quite Şengün, not Jokic, not Sabonis levels, but 70% of that. I think that's pretty realistic if he really puts in the work and focuses on it, which I'm not totally confident he has, given that what we're seeing right now looks exactly what it looked like over the summer.
But where would you take that?
That's where I struggle.
That's where I struggle, because I'd love to get him at 15.
I still like Hannes a lot. I don't like him top 10 at all. No, I can't get there.
I'd be ecstatic to get it at
like, we're talking late teens, early 20s. Now we can talk.
He won't last till 20.
But I don't think I'd reach on him at this point based on what he's shown, because he's an elite rebounder on both ends of the floor. What else is he giving you consistently? What can you rely on him to give you every single night?
Boards.
Yeah, aside from that.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, look, if I could be like, hey, I'm getting an elite rebounder and potentially, early on in his career, I'm getting 12 and 10. I think he gives that pretty easily. I would take that. Gosh, in this class though, the problem is like you have to count for the depth of the class, which is like, hey, you could go back and look at some previous drafts and be like, why did that guy not go, or why did that guy go so early? Why did that guy go so late? And you're like, well, you could look at the rest of the names, like take in the big picture, not just like the top 10. And you're
Mhm.
like, why did he go ninth? It's like, we'll take in everybody else. So I don't know. He's one that I'm a puzzle with, and it's not in a bad way. It's in a, can I break through that wall to find another level
Yeah.
of like, I'm in,
Yeah, because like that's where I'm at, and I'm not out on Hannes. I think he's a really good player. I love rebounding, so part of this is me hedging against my own personal biases of like, don't overrate this guy's elite skill. But maybe I should lean into it, and I'm still trying to figure that out. But it's also me trying to figure out what is that secondary skill for me. I think it's the passing. It's like, now, all right, what's the feasibility in that actually becoming not necessarily an elite skill, but a plus skill, something that he can hang his hat on, something that can really reshape a defense and make him like really separate him from a lot of his peers to warrant that starting center spot for the next 10 years and make up for some of the defensive inefficiencies that constantly keep popping up.
Completely agree. Want to hit on defense, or do you want to
Yeah,
move on?
no, we
Okay.
can hit on
Talk to me,
defense.
Dr. Defense. Where are you at? Now,
Uh
we weren't ever going to lean towards Hannes being a plus defender. I think we were
yeah,
like, hey, can he be average?
yeah.
So where are you at?
I'd say below average.
Okay.
I think he's generally pretty smart. He's not like the positioning for the most part tends to be really good, but the physical limitations are pretty staggering where the foot speed is really, really bad. There's very little explosiveness to his game. Um, 2.8 block rate, 1.8 steal rate. It's just he doesn't guys aren't scared of him on that end. They don't avoid him. He doesn't reshape or shift what the other team's trying to do. And there's a big reason why Washington has another center out there with him a lot of the time, and that's because he's a little more explosive of a shot blocker. So I do question, all right, can he survive if he's going to be your five? Can he actually anchor a defense? And I don't think so, because I think NBA teams and NBA guards are going to target him relentlessly, expose that foot speed. The fundamentals are good. He's not falling all over himself and being off balance and crossing his feet and all that kind of stuff. He just isn't fast enough. So hopefully it's one of those really, really rapid learning developments. But I think he has a long, long way to go on defense to just be average.
Look, I just can't get the idea of him being Isaiah Hartenstein out of my head. And he went 43rd overall in 2017, but also he's averaging 11, 10, and 3 right now for the Thunder.
He's
So
significantly better defender.
exactly. So that's where I get at. I was like, I trust. Now, Isaiah took a little bit of time to figure it out
Yeah.
and get in the league. So it could happen. Like he was bouncing around. I remember when he was in he's in the G League and he was just beasting. I was like, who's gonna give this guy a real shot?
Mhm.
And then just, obviously worked out pretty well for him. So I'm still being patient, but I hear you. I think there's like, okay, well, more of an offensive weapon big and then you're like, okay, the boards, there's a lot of like potential here. Defensively, if he's just like okay, it's like, well, if my roster had a natural big and you could be like, well, we could maybe play jumbo with him next to it. It's like, okay, maybe that helps, but am I really investing in that too early?
But at that same point, like then your other center really has to be able to space the floor, or he has to take a major leap in shooting. in both volume and consistency, because I am optimistic about the shot long term. I don't think he's going to give you much in that situation his first couple of years, but let's say he's a below average defender for his career. The rebounding is elite, and the passing improves a little bit. The outside shot improves a little bit. Is that worth a top 10 pick?
No.
Is that worth a lottery pick?
I would say it's a late teen pick.
Yeah.
And that's if you just knocked your workout and your interview and your team's like, hey, this is perfect for us.
Right. So that's the struggle that I'm going through right now, where it's like, I'm optimistic about the shot. I'm optimistic about the passing. I think he is a smart defender despite the physical limitations. But my optimism isn't going to make him better at these things. So how realistic is it that he actually significantly improves in one of those key areas to bump him up a couple spots? And that's just what I'm battling with.
Yeah, no, I have him right outside my lottery. Like, I think I might have even had him at 15 on my last board. It's also just troubling when you're like, hey, like, I love this guy. Would I be shocked on draft night if he went 21st? And you kind of just sit and you're like, probably not. A lot of guys have to heat up and go ahead of him, but like
I don't think he's going to test like insanely well.
That's the part too, and people be like, it doesn't matter. Oh, it matters. The combine matters.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but
no, I'm
every
not saying
year,
I agree with
every
it.
year people fall in love with measurables and testing and private workouts. Happens all the time.
There's also guys that get buzzed after just March Madness.
Yeah.
Do I agree with it? No, but I know why, because everyone in the league is at the same thing and they're all buzzing and talk about it. So it's just, this is the nature of the beast. So I don't think he'll test great there, but that's a good point too. So